Good morning, positive thinkers. Thank you so
Good
much.
morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I love seeing everybody's faces here this morning. Welcome to our September online meeting. We're very happy to be here sharing and seeing everybody. Hi, Rosalind. Today we have a great lineup of speakers. We have with us today Bruce Nolan, who has been a part of our board in the past. He's going to be doing affirmations for us this morning, and he is joining us from Dubai, which is complete. I know most of us here are doing. Say that again, Bruce.
Doha.
There we go, Toha. And he is joining us from another part of the world, originally from Newfoundland. And we also have with us today our guest speaker, Sonia Byrne, and she's originally from Carbonear, Newfoundland, and she's joining us from Denver, Colorado. So we're outside of the province, and we're very excited for those people to be here with us today, and thank you for joining us. Just a little bit of information about our club. We formed our club 31 years ago. And John Snow and Dave Radosky had an opportunity to expand into a positive thinkers club. They attended a human relations seminar put off by Brian Tracy in 1988. And they were so happy about what he delivered to the audience that a year later, John came up with this idea to create our club. And ever since then, their first meeting was at the Battery Hotel. And ever since then, we've been meeting monthly at the last Saturday of every month, usually in a physical setting. And with the pandemic and everything, we have come to a online format, which as we've been embracing it and people have been joining every month. There will be a time when we will get back to a physical environment. That's coming up. We have our AGM coming up in November, and we're going to be making some plans around that. So stay tuned for that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our affirmations. And Bruce is unmuted, so I will mute myself so Bruce can take over and get us started, and I'll pumped up for our guest speaker, Sonia. Thank you, Bruce.
Awesome. I don't know how pumped up I'll get you, but certainly I'm really grateful to be here today. I always love being able to join into the group, and especially now where I'm at a distance. I don't have as many supports that I would normally have. So this is something that I really look forward to. And I guess on that note, I wanted to just talk a little bit about gratitude today for the affirmations. Something that I've been sort of going through myself over the last 6 or 7 months. It's been kind of a tough time, and it's not always easy for us to feel gratitude sometimes. And even though it is something that I think, as part of our Positive Thinkers Club, I'd be I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that, there's a lot of benefits to gratitude. And, there's, obviously one of the big ones is having more positive emotions. We often will sleep better. We're more kind, we're more compassionate. We have stronger immune systems, so it's right away for me. I always kind of come back to things. I'm a scientist. So when I see evidence that something works and has benefits, I always gravitate to that. So I wanted to just sort of talk a little bit about that today. And, also too, as we were talking about, just the times that we're in right now. It's challenging times, and we're all kind of impacted differently by what's happening around us. And I think sometimes when it comes to the idea of gratitude, we sometimes think, well, I don't know, maybe we feel a little guilty, or we maybe feel if things in our lives aren't going good, we probably shouldn't, be saying how grateful we are, or, you know, if things are not going well in other people's lives, you know, that maybe we hold back. But, you know, I think that, you know, we have to look at where we are, and, you know, having gratitude doesn't deny where we are right now. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't change our current reality. It's okay if not everything is perfect. That's probably the best reason for us to, you know, try to develop some gratitude. So I just wrote down a few simple things today, because I just wanted to kind of keep it simple, and just to sort of, you know, because for myself, you know, sometimes, you know, the idea of affirmations is always something that I want to get into practice, and I find I do when I'm here. And so I just wrote down a few simple ones that, you know, what relating to gratitude, that I hope, you know, we can take and incorporate those into our lives. Just, you know, even no matter where you are right now, I'm sure there's got to be some good things happening in your life that you can be thankful for. Okay, so if you want to unmute yourself, you can. If you want to join in, and with these, I'll just say it out, and then you can repeat it after me if you wish to join in. If you don't want to join in, just keep yourself muted and say it to yourself, because there's a lot of data that shows that when you do affirmations, it is better to speak them out. Our brain responds well to that. So the first one, I am grateful for my access to nourishing food and clean water.
I am
I'm
grateful
grateful for my access to nourishing food and clean water.
I'm grateful for the gift of my precious human life.
I am grateful for my gift of precious human life.
I'm grateful for all of the amazing things my body allows me to do.
I am grateful for all the amazing my body allows
me to do.
I'm grateful for the ability to learn, develop, and grow.
I am grateful for the ability to learn,
develop, and grow.
I'm grateful for all of my blessings, big and small.
I'm
grateful
for all blessings, big and small.
I'm grateful for my strength and resilience, which allow me to survive and thrive.
I'm grateful
for my strength
And allow me to survive and thrive.
That's it. Just wanted to keep it simple, that, you know, those are things that I think we can always, no matter where we are, we can always tap into those things. They're simple, and you know, they get us going where we are. So if we're feeling right now that, you know, we may not be in a place where we're feeling gratitude, we can develop those things and start where we are, and, you know, change, you know, create something different for ourselves.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody.
Beautiful, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Christina, you can say, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, and Bruce, I was wondering if you could share those in an email for us, because I really like those affirmations. I wouldn't mind on that, like having them so I could repeat them daily.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll either send them to Katie, or I'll post them.
Yeah, if you want to post them on our Facebook.
Yeah, okay. I can do that. Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They were beautiful, Bruce, and it's very important. It really sets the tone. You know, sometimes when we're going through trouble, just getting into that space of gratitude, it really uplifts your body and your soul, and it's great. Thank you very much for sharing that with us today.
Thanks for allowing me to share. I'm grateful for that.
Good job.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, now we're going to move on to our guest speaker, Sonia Byrne. So Sonia is no stranger to Positive Thinkers Club. In 2010, was her very first attendance to one of our meetings. She joined with a friend, and life got busy and she was traveling the world and doing all these amazing things in her business. And then she appeared again in 2016. And at the time, I was the first VP of speakers, and she had reached out to me to be a guest speaker. And I was delighted because her topic was amazing, and I so welcomed her to speak to our club. And ever since then, we've been connected in some way, and she's been a light and mentor to me along the way. And right now, she's from Carbonear, and she's doing amazing things in the world with her role right now with the Center for Spiritual Living in her role. And she's now residing in Denver, Colorado, with her little buddy, Cat, who I miss. I used to visit them, and Buddy has such a great character. It's amazing. And Sonia has a great character too, and a warm heart. And I'm very, very pleased to introduce you to Sonia Byrne. And I'm so happy to have you here with us today, Sonia.
Thank you. This is not the first time that I've gotten second fiddle to Buddy the cat. I'm going to say this. He's been with me for 13 years, and he's been on 4 continents. So he's a traveler. He has his own passport, and he definitely is one of those places I go in gratitude, Bruce. You know, our animals, our animal family, our pets are so important, particularly right now. We can hug them, can't we? You know, and in times of isolation, we definitely are feeling that call to connect. And a lot of people, I think a lot of animals are connecting with their human folk. They're probably at the end of the day going, oh my gosh, could you just leave me alone for a moment? All those hugs all day long. I have to make up for everybody you're not hugging at the Positive Thinkers Club this month. Even the introverts are starting to complain. You know that it's been a while, and even the introverts are saying this is enough. Thank you so very much for having me here, Katie. I do miss my times of being with you folks in Newfoundland. I moved to Denver last year to accept this role, which was a real calling in my life. And it is the CEO Executive Director role for the Centers for Spiritual Living. And this organization, their global home office is in Golden, Colorado, which is in the mountains just above Denver. It's a beautiful place and a beautiful space. And our organization has works, actual physical centers and teaching chapters and groups that get together like this and study in 32 countries. We have over 500 works in the world. So the organization that I'm leading right now supports all of those people all around the world. So it's been a busy time. In our preamble before we started the proper meeting here today, I was saying that when COVID hit in the US and in my particular area here in Colorado, that we were considered an essential service, which means that we had a small group of people doing basic business operations and still going into the office. So I've been in the office all along since March. So I haven't felt to the degree, I think, of some people of the isolation. And there's been days when I've been envious of people moving through the entire playbook of Netflix. But the work that we're doing, we know that we're supporting people around the world, very much like you folks are doing, in positivity and in oneness, and in having them feeling connected to the truth of who they are, no matter what the circumstances are in the world. And this has been a challenging time for people. The most frequently asked topic for me to present on, and I've done quite a bit of presenting since March, has been mindfulness in times of chaos, or mindful leadership. So I have a portion of that presentation in our time together that I will share with you today. We will do a couple of slides together, and then I think Katie had indicated we'll have a poll. So if you've not done a poll in Zoom, you're going to get an opportunity to do that, which is a kind of a neat little way in to do. It has us feeling a little more interconnected. And then we'll do breakout rooms with 2 to 3 people. So you'll get a chance to actually check in with someone that you know from the club. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Wonderful. Okay. So when we look at the concept of mindfulness in a time like this, we have two really active parts of our body in terms of mindfulness and consciousness at this time. It's our brain and our heart. And you might even have experienced over the past few months that pull between your brain wanting to think something and your heart wanting to do something. So our brain has really two functions for us, and that is to process information. So we're taking in information all day long, visually generally, but through our other senses as well. And we're processing this information in order to determine, am I safe? So these are the two jobs of our brain. So just imagine the difference that has happened in the last 6 to 8 months. Our processing of information generally happens visually through a screen, whether we're watching the news and hearing about the COVID numbers or hearing about things being good or bad or better or worse in another part of the country or the world, we're processing that information. And most of our connections with people have gone to an online format as well. So they've gone onto Zoom. What's interesting is that in the communication triangle, or the communication ratio, the total percentage, only 7% is words. And the other 93% are split between your body language and your tone. So we have lost the ability to really connect via body language because all we see is here. I walked into a room about 6 months ago, and the group in the room sort of stopped and gasped, and I thought, oh my gosh, what has happened? I looked at my wardrobe to see if there was something wrong, and they said, we're just surprised you look taller on Zoom. And so they made an assumption about what you could see right here, right now. They made an assumption that I was so much taller, probably a big presence. But when we look at the way that our brain is processing, we are missing that physical 3D connection. We are missing that sometimes tone comes across better when you can see the body language and you can understand the words. So if you've been misunderstood or misunderstanding people, if you've gotten in nitpicky fights, if you've been irritated or on the other end of someone's irritation over the past little while, this is part of it. Our brain is really overloaded. And so I do find when I'm on Zoom, I'm using my hands more. I notice my facial gestures are much stronger. You know, it's a natural, innate way that our body, our brain, ourselves is trying to have a better connection. So you'll notice that if some of that is sounding common or familiar to you, this is why. There's a reason. If you're seeing really animated people on Zoom right now, and also people are what you call zoomed out, right? So people have said, oh, you know, if I could just call you, or could we meet on a socially distanced coffee? The brain and the ocular area of the brain is just so busy and overdone with processing. So the other processor at this time is our heart. And so we might feel like our head and our heart, or our brain and our heart are sometimes in conflict right now. So the heart wants to hug, and the brain is like, I can hug you, stay 6 feet back and keep your mask on over your nose. So this clashing of the mind and the heart is present for people right now. And so that confusion and that intensity creates an experience for people where they maybe get more easily frustrated. So if you're wondering about why all this is happening, I'm giving you some logic to be kinder to yourselves and to the people around you. And it really comes from this place of mindfulness of who we be and what we do. So in the world right now, we are used to doing a lot that represents who we are. So I'm a this and I do this, and this is what I do. I'm a grandparent. I'm I'm an admin assistant. We're so caught up in our doing, and really the world, because we can't go and do and be seen doing right now, we're so reflective and expecting other people to be kind and to be gentle with us and themselves as well. So there's so much being going on right now. And it's interesting because we would have said that we are human beings, but we have really been human doings. And if you think of, putting in that time till retirement, or I retired, so that's what I used to do. We're so focused on what's the first question you ask people. What do you do? And this has been a time for a call for that to be different. So I love this little social media meme. If you do yoga, then you know the warrior pose where you stand. This is the warrior pose. I think a lot of us are in the warrior pose right now. And this is that clashing of the brain and the heart and all of the things that are coming out. So if you could replace the words in those little bubbles, what would your words be right now? Oh my gosh, is everything going to be okay? When is this thing going to end? Are we going to get a vaccine? You know, I'm worried about my kids. I haven't been able to see my grandchildren. They live in Florida, etc. So if you look at the total of this, then we find ourselves in this warrior pose. This is a context that I use with groups and especially in the last 8 months around explaining what we're in. So I'm going to give you this structure here. So people will say, well, you know, we're in really VUCA times, who are familiar with this term. And VUCA, this concept came from the time of the Cold War. And it was created as an acronym to explain the level of discomfort and unpredictability that was occurring as things got put back into place post that experience. So it is an American military and global media term, VUCA. And so what that breaks down into is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Let me walk you through this. One of these is going to call you more than the others. And I want you to notice, because I'm going to ask you to put it in chat in a moment. So if we picture volatility, volatility has a visual for me of up and down, kind of like the stock market, if you've been watching that, or the numbers. So there's a sense of volatility, like things could be up or down on any given day. Uncertainty has a visual of a horizontal line. So you know, how certain are you of your predictability of your life experience? At some points in the last year, it's felt like really short, like my window of time or my timeline of knowing exactly what my life is going to be like is really close to me right now. I can only predict out a few days or a few weeks. And if you look further, the further out, the further on that horizontal timeline that we can see and know and understand and predict and feel we have stability, determines our level of certainty we feel in our life. How certain or uncertain are we of a predictable experience? And then complexity, I think of it as all these IT wires all jumbled together. If you've tried to, like, you have all these phones and all these chargers, and if you tried to take it out of a basket and everything is all twined, I see some smiles. Some people have had that experience. It's complex, meaning everything is all tied together. And it's hard to pull it apart. So there's been things right now that have gotten more complex. For instance, if you wanted to do banking a little while ago, like, how do I do banking? If I wanted to, you know, go to a restaurant, if I wanted to access healthcare, things have just, there's layers and layers now. They've just gotten a little more complex. And then the last is ambiguous, or a level of ambiguity. And I think of ambiguity as the opposite of complex, and having this wide open space where you can't even kind of see the edges. It's really you're unable to predict what's about to happen and how to process something that's really simple. So if you had to sign documents in the last little while, it's like, how do we do this? We've had to create new ways of doing things because we don't have the same structures, the same processes, the same edges. So I'm going to ask you now to share in the chat, and chat is down at the bottom of your screen, and you'll see the chat. And if you click that, you'll be able to see the running chat. Which one right now is standing out for you? Do you feel that in your world that you're experiencing around you more volatility, uncertainty, complexity, or ambiguity? Stop the share. Okay, we've got Joel says complex, uncertain, ambiguous, ambiguity, okay. Wonderful. Complex, uncertain, okay. So what I notice in our list here is that there isn't much in the way of volatility. And I can tell you that on a timeline since March, that volatility was the number one word that I saw at the beginning. So, you know, I gave you that visual of that up and down. We don't necessarily feel like there's such like spikes and drops and things right now in our world. But that long-term uncertainty, if you've got plans in 2021 and 2022, you're wondering if they're going to happen. So that timeline out feels a little uncertain. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay. The beauty in the cycle of chaos. This is a concept that I've been using for a couple of decades. And Bruce, notice that there's gratitude in there because there's only one mind. Yeah, we all knew what was going to happen today on some level, and we're connected. So you did a beautiful entry for me. Thank you. When people say to me, well, what is this beauty? There's no beauty in chaos or big change. But I'm here to tell you something that is very, very predictable. And I'd like you to reflect back for a moment, either on this recent big change or chaos that's come into your life, or perhaps there's another time that's in the past. The beauty in the cycle of chaos is that immediately when a big change happens or chaos occurs, something big and unexpected happens in the world, it takes very little time, sometimes just seconds, for people to become highly innovative. So if you think about what happened in March and the ways that people came forward with new ways to do things, and think of maybe, and if you want to put it in the chat, examples of innovations that happened. So innovation happens in times of chaos for two reasons. One is humans love comfort. So if I was able to go and get my ordered coffee, I want to figure out the way that we need to re-engineer things so I can get back to having that coffee in the morning at the cafe. We're very interesting as humans this way. So we want to go back to our level of comfort. So innovation got created, different ways of doing things so that we could maintain a level of comfort that we like as humans. The second thing is that there are people amongst us who are natural innovators or entrepreneurs, or they're people who are always inventing or engineering things. And in moments like this, they may have had an invention or an idea that would not normally be accepted, or they'd have to take a lot of time and energy to have it be accepted. And in a time of chaos or change, there's a vacuum that gets created, this perfect opening for an innovation to come forward, and we all find ourselves as human beings more receptive to something that's changing or different, something that we wouldn't have considered. We would have to stop and have meetings and consider and make a plan and do a proposal, and it would be like 8 steps to accept something. Whereas in a time of deep chaos, someone brings an idea and it's pretty instantaneous. You're going to say yes or no, or you're going to find a way to make it work. So don't you notice how innovative we've all become? And you've done this even in your own home, in the way that you've had to navigate your day. And so innovation occurs, and then because innovation occurs, we want to share it. We want other human beings to be comfortable. So we as human beings tend to share, and so we have generosity that occurs. Innovation gets shared. We're either sharing it and producing generosity from ourselves, or we are at the experience of generosity. And because we have been so happy to have that item or that new way of doing something, or something that creates a comfort for us, come towards us, we find ourselves in gratitude. And we can be grateful to someone for providing to us. We can be grateful for just an experience we see in the world. And we actually kind of seek gratitude. We seek things to be grateful for. We seek the good, because it also resets that level of comfort, like, oh, the world is right, people are good, and so we find ourselves in this cycle. So we're grateful, and because we're grateful, we maybe provide something new to somebody, and that means that we're being generous. And so this cycle of chaos, this beautiful cycle that occurs during chaos, is showing us the best of humanity. It really is. And we all have examples right now in our world of places where people have been excessively generous or innovative. So we're going to do a poll at this time. Just go ahead here. So which of the following stages or phases, which one are you experiencing right now? Because it is a loop, and it does continue on itself. Are you in the experience in your life of innovation? So you're seeing or being part of or experiencing things being changed for the better? Are you experiencing generosity, or are you experiencing gratitude right now? So Katie, thank you. She has popped up the poll. And so you'll see the poll on your screen. We have people already starting to complete it. So go ahead and click on the 1. Are you feeling that you're experiencing innovation right now in the cycle, generosity, or gratitude? We've got 11 people so far. Go ahead if you wish to join us. Top, wonderful. So we've got 80% of our people have responded. We'll keep it open for about 10 more seconds if you'd like to go ahead and respond. Okay. Katie, I think we're probably good to end it. So just end and oh, this is a really good group for you there, Bruce. We can all see that gratitude is where we're sitting right now at 85%. Interesting. So know that as we express gratitude, we're going to begin to head into innovation. We're going to be grateful, and we're going to see somebody having an interesting situation that maybe needs some help, and we're going to offer a way to move through that. And that will be innovation, and that cycle is beautiful. Knowing that that cycle always happens and that it's very predictable can be a very centering idea in one's life. And as you go through situations of chaos or change or crisis, you can watch it happen. I've had people over the past couple of decades contact me once something has happened in their life and they're through it, and they said, you know, I watched for it and it happened every time, and it was beautiful. It's a way humans connect with each other. We're going to go into breakout rooms now. So remember the item that you just said was where you're sitting in those 3 areas: innovation, generosity, and gratitude. And remember under the VUCA, which area you said that you were feeling right now. So let's go into about a 5-minute check-in here as we complete my time with you. Let's do a breakout room and come back and we'll check in. So Katie is setting us up into breakout rooms. We have 16, 17 people, so perhaps five breakout rooms, Katie. And you'll see a pop-up come up on your screen to enter your breakout room. So go ahead and click that. You'll be removed from this group and go into a smaller group, and you'll be in there for about 5 minutes, and then we'll pull you back. You're going through the matrix. That was random. Katie just said that. That's where we didn't put people specifically in rooms. So now that you know how that you can do that, you can make it part of your future meetings if you want. It's a great way to get that small group check-in. And it's not a hug, but it's pretty close.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having me with you during this time. The intent of my brief presentation to you was to give you some structures to help you understand what's happening in the world right now. And sometimes when we have those structures and we see, oh, okay, they're just being like this, or, oh, okay, I'm in this space, and this is the space that generally comes next, that it can have us feeling a sense of calm and a sense of reasonability in a time that doesn't feel very calm or reasonable around us. One thing I do want to say as I close is that beauty of chaos cycle, it's organic and it naturally happens, but you can be intentional and move it as well. So for instance, if you find you're just tired of innovation, like I'm tired of being asked to do things different, create something different, be inventive, you can actually decide to go into generosity and shift yourself and be generous and be in that giving space. And if you find that you feel like you've been a giver in this experience, you can decide to go to gratitude and shift your mental state and your physical state, your words and actions, your thoughts and behaviors into a place of gratitude. And that shifts. So you can intentionally shift the energy. You've got the power. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was amazing. Just that little switch when we were talking, when you were in the breakout rooms, I I've been finding I'm in the innovative phase. I've been in that for a very long time, but now I have an understanding that I can switch it. So because it can get overwhelming when you're in that innovative side of things. And now I know that I can switch to the generosity or the gratitude and just make myself aware of that. And I appreciate you, Sonia, for making us aware of that and being with us today from your home in Denver, Colorado. Thank you. I'm going to open up the floor now. If anybody has any questions for Sonia, you are more than welcome to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question. Oh, Bruce, have to unmute yourself right now.
I got it.
There
I
you go.
think. Yeah, good. So thanks, Sonia. That was really good. I really like that. And I think, you know, like you hit on it, and it certainly ties into how I like to look at things, is that in this time of uncertainty now, it gives you a little bit of a framework to, I guess, to attach to. And like when I was talking to Mom, we were just talking a little bit about it, and it's nice to sort of know that, one, you can kind of locate yourself in a place, and two, that, like Katie was just saying, you have the permission to sort of, once you recognize yourself, you can sort of say, oh, well, I'd like to be somewhere else now. You know, and you have that power to, you know, to make that change. And I think too, it's also good, you know, when we have these little discussions, when we're able to have that conversation, and we can kind of ground ourselves. But we also then get an opportunity to hear where somebody else is, and they can give us their perspective and share sort of how they've got themselves grounded, and we can kind of, you know, have a conversation around that. So it I guess in a way it kind of helps. It's, even though it's called the chaos cycle, it kind of helps to ground us when we're going through chaos. So it kind of helps to reduce chaos in a way. You know, I don't know if that's an irony of it, but I think that's something I took away from it. I think it was great.
I think I saw Leslie's hand.
Hi there, Sonia. It's so lovely to see you and see everyone. Thank you so much. You know, this is how I try to live my life, but you know, I'm human in the midst of all of this, so I get stuck. It's a good reminder. I mean, there is beauty in everything. It's been a really challenging week. My daughter was in an accident with my car. She was in the hospital. She's fine. She could have been killed, but she wasn't. And she wasn't severely hurt, but the car was totaled. The other car was totaled. But in the midst of this, I've just been expressing gratitude. And it's like, it's what we've talked openly about this. It's like, this is what she needed, because she looked at me. She's not my birth daughter. She's been in my life for about 5 years as a daughter, and she's been struggling. But she looked at me on Monday before she went to her treatment center, and she said, she calls me Momly, Mom and Leslie. Momly, I am so glad to be alive. I almost fell on the floor, because I have wished her that she would be in a place where she would say that. But she saw the beauty in the cycle of chaos. And that's what she needed to truly realize, and how grateful she was for everything, for me in her life, for her dog, for all of the beauty. Like, really, it's moving away from this, and, you know, in the worry and the fear, and seeing it from a place, from the observer perspective. So thank you, Sonia, for that. It's a really good reminder for us all to be in this, like everything, especially chaos, there is this opportunity for innovation, generosity, and gratitude. Thank you.
Joel with his hand up. Joel?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you, Sonia, as well. The circle of chaos or cycle of chaos that you introduced there, I thought was very powerful and really helped me to compartmentalize the all the things that we're experiencing around us. So on top of that, your utilization of the technology, in this case Zoom, has been a real eye opener for us. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. I saw some notes in the chat, Katie. You might be getting requests to do breakout rooms. That's lovely.
Yes, I know. We'll have to make a plan for October.
I think Christina had her hand up.
Yeah, Christina.
Yep. Hi, thank you so much, Sonia. I really enjoyed that. I did a couple of snapshots and I really enjoyed the breakout room as well. And that because we got to talk intimately and that about, you know, our choices and that we made and that where we are now. And you know what, wherever you are and that right now and that you've taken a part of you and you've shared it with us and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you so much, Anna, for that. This was a great start to our fall. I think and that great things are going to come from here.
Wonderful.
Definitely. And I think Sheldon, did you have a question, Sheldon?
Yeah. Good morning again. Sonia, I just wanted to say how great it is to see you in person, almost in person.
Oh.
Thank you for waking up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning to be here with us. Many people wouldn't do that. So thank you. And I gained a lot from what you had to say. A lot of it rang true to me. And I'm just grateful for your innovation in using Zoom for breakout rooms. And I just am very for your generosity of sharing yourself with us this morning. So thanks.
You're welcome. Katie, do you want me to share my screen for?
Yes. Sonia has an event coming up on October 5th, and it's a very exciting event. I'm registered to go to attend, and Deepak, she's going to be interviewing Deepak Chopra. So if you want to share your screen just to give a little bit of information about that. Yeah.
First, I want to say most of you I'm on Facebook with, and I have an individual Facebook page. And so please feel free to connect with me. I love staying connected with my family from Newfoundland. I still have a home there. So as soon as I can get back for an extended visit, you bet we'll be seeing each other. If you want to stay connected to the work that I'm doing that pulled me off of Newfoundland, you know, our Newfoundlanders, we love our province, we love our island. So it takes a little bit to pull us away. And this opportunity to oversee this organization that was doing such good in the world and so aligned with what Positive Thinkers Club does was more than I could put on pause. So I absolutely said yes over a long period of time. It took about a year to make this decision, but I'm there with the Centers for Spiritual Living. So we do events out into the world, and if you want to stay connected, the Centers for Spiritual Living has a Facebook page. We also have a magazine called The Science of Mind magazine, which is a lot of this positive thinking. And they have a digital version as well. So we have Facebook pages for both of those. And then on October 5th, we're having an event with Deepak Chopra. We organized a few months ago with him, his book, Total Meditation, again, very aligned with what we talk about here. It launched this week. So we have on the Science of Mind magazine Facebook page, there's an interview that happened on September 11th with him. And now we're doing his actual kickoff for his book event. And that takes place on October 5th. And I will be hosting that. He's doing about 60 minutes of content with us and a meditation, and then I'll host a Q&A with him. So if you would like to register for that, it is $40. It is American, but it's usually over $100 to see him at a live event. So it's for $40, and the book is shipped to you. So it's the book and the event for $40. We're really trying to keep it very accessible and keep it available to everyone who needs it right now in the world. So if you want to register for that, it's at shop.csl.org. If you go on there, and you'll find that also on probably on my Facebook page, as well as Centers for Spiritual Living and Science of Mind magazine. I just put the link in the chat, and I'll put Centers for Spiritual Living if you want to follow any of that. What we spend a lot of time on in Facebook, and I know I've seen Katie, and I think Sheldon has shared a few of our things, is a lot of these, you know, the Facebook memes, the posts with beautiful quotes and uplifting and inspiring images. So feel free to share any of those at any time. If you're looking for a little bit of positive juice, you can head on over to my Facebook or either of those for you. Okay. Thank you so much for having me here, and I look forward to seeing some of you on the 5th, perhaps.
Thank you, Sonia. Kimberly, do you have a question? Okay, clapping, sorry. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that event. That's my day. I'm taking it off, and it's all focused. That day is all focused about self-care, and I'm looking forward to that. Just a little bit of information now about our next meeting. It is going to be scheduled on Halloween. It falls on Halloween. I know trick-or-treater, I think it's going to be a little bit different this time of year with the pandemic, but it should be, it's going to, I have some ideas coming up. We might actually have some costumes. Sonia, that's a great idea. So stay tuned for our guest speaker for October. Our AGM is currently, we're in the midst of making plans for what we're going to do for the AGM this year. Our intention, we have a couple of options. We're going to have a decision made by our next board meeting, and we'll release that information to everybody. We're hoping that we can at least get into a physical setting for our AGM, and we're going to have to plan it very in some shape of way with masks and all that stuff, but I'm looking forward to releasing that information. We'll have that released to you by October for sure. And thank you to our board members for helping out and taking care of our membership. And thank you to our members and anybody who was on our call today who are new to our club. If you're interested, hi Kimberly, if you're interested in learning more, we have our Facebook group, if you'd like to follow us there. And hopefully we'll see you out at a physical meeting very soon. And I appreciate everybody for being here this morning, and have a great Saturday. It's beautiful here in Newfoundland, so enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great session,
Thank
everyone. Have a
you.
great weekend.
That was
Take care,
awesome.
everybody. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
See you, Joel.